Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode. This is episode 409 of the Auto Detailing Podcast. I'm Jimbo, your host. Today, we have someone who's local to me, actually really close, at least if your Facebook profile is correct. But his name is Sam Spirer. He is with Wicked Auto Protection. Sam, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
You got it. So these are my favorite kind of interviews, like I've said before, when I don't know much about the person or their company or any of that. It always it gives me like a fresh perspective on your life and your business. So it's actually fun. I feel like I ask better questions that way. So tell us about Sam and your company.
Well, I am originally from Boston, Massachusetts. I moved out here with my now wife about going on 6 or 7 years now. We drove across country in U-Haul and did it in about 4 days, and then we got out to California. And I had always been a car enthusiast, and I had gone to school for auto mechanics, but I hated actually working on cars. And I was trying to find something to kind of pay the bills, with a minimal college education and any skills outside of like trades. I used to be a cook and do random stuff like that. And then a friend of mine who had just opened a vinyl wrapping business suggested auto detailing. And so then I was like, that sounds interesting. Let me give this a try. And then I bought some stuff, and I had no idea what I was doing. And then I just learned on the fly and with YouTube and other detailers and stuff. And it just kind of built from there. And now I have this, I've been in business for, I think this is 5 years or ending 6 years now. And everything's been pretty good.
What was the idea or why? What was the reasoning for the move? Did you grow up in Massachusetts your whole life?
Yeah, I grew up there, and honestly, I just had enough of cold weather.
Got it.
I was tired of snow and waking up extra early when it snowed to, get all the snow off the car, and just like being being cold and miserable for many months. You could never really predict when spring or summer was actually going to start, because sometimes we would get snow all the way through March and into early April, and it would be cooler in April, and then in June it would start to warm up, and then it would just get incredibly humid, and it was just like a miserable summer, and you complain the whole summer that it's too hot, and it's just a never-ending cycle of complaining about the weather.
And then, so why California, and then why even more specifically like Southern California? Did you have friends out here, family out here?
So my friend who actually has the vinyl wrap business moved out here a year before me. We have been friends for a long time. I didn't really follow him out here, but he just kept telling me how amazing it was in California. So I was like, I'm just going to go and chase that, California dream there. And California sounds like the promised land. And then I moved here, and I was like, man, it is hot as shit, and there's a lot of traffic, and it's really expensive here.
That's for sure. All true. All true. But so you land here, you decide to start doing the detailing thing. Was your friend with the wrap business, was he getting detailing clients, or what was it like? Because I'm assuming you and your then girlfriend or wife, whatever, had no jobs, right? So what does that look like? You land here or you drive in, and it's like, where do you start?
Well, I had quite a bit of money saved up when I moved here, and then I actually worked for a delivery medical marijuana dispensary. Okay. When I first moved out here.
Got it.
I lived in Santa Clarita at first.
Okay.
And so I just kind of found a place to work one night, and so I did that for a little while and just lived off my savings. And my wife had some odd jobs here and there. She does a lot of stuff with animals, so she worked at a few pet stores and stuff like that. And we were just living off savings, but it got to the point where those were kind of dwindling. And so I was like, I really need to find something, because every regular job I got after that dispensary job just no low pay, never, not really going anywhere. I just wasn't enjoying myself. So I just kind of went out on a limb with the entrepreneur lifestyle. And I actually didn't do any detailing work for my friend who suggested it. I just kind of started joining car groups on Facebook, and I would just post in all those groups, people are looking for a detailer. And then I set up, Yelp and Facebook and Instagram and just like anywhere that you could advertise, Craigslist, Angie's List, all that stuff, until I started kind of building up, and then, was able to pay for a little bit of advertising on Yelp and stuff. It was all just word of mouth for the most part in the beginning, starting out doing like wash clay and wax for like under $100 and killing myself. But it just kind of, I didn't know what to charge, and I didn't really know what I was doing at that time either.
Sure.
So just kind of rolled with it.
Right. But at the same time, it's like you're getting paid to learn. And that's what I tell people a lot of times too, is like, just, it's okay if you do cheap work or free work in the beginning, because you're learning. There's so many things that you're learning in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so it's like, you're almost getting paid to learn. So at that point, shoot, $100 detail. It's like, who cares? You probably messed up something along the way anyway. I know I did.
Oh yeah. I've made tons of mistakes, but I've always fixed everything. I've hate one of the things, if I was going to have an automotive business, I've been burned by a lot of auto shops in the past with damage and incomplete work and stuff like that. And that kind of stuff drives me crazy. So anytime I made a mistake, if I damaged something, did something wrong, I would just take care of it. No questions asked, because that's, the right thing to do. And so I just wanted to build a business that even if I wasn't doing as good at first, at least I was doing it honestly. So
totally.
If I ever had problems, I'd just take care of it. And most of the time, like 90% of people will continue to use you if you fix something that's wrong. The other 10% are just full of themselves.
100%. But it's so true. It's like, it's almost more important in how you fix whatever you messed up than the mistake that you even made in the first place. You know what I mean? The mistake you made almost doesn't even matter if you can handle it correctly. Do you remember like any one like accident or something that happened that kind of is still painful for you today that happened?
Yeah, but don't really want to talk about that one.
Got it. All right.
that one's too embarrassing.
Too embarrassing. Right
but I'll just give another one example. I was fixing the car today. I had a guy with an Aston Martin V8 Vantage, and he had some scratches on the upper part of one of his doors. And my shop when I had my shop, had corrected it, but I wasn't there, so because I was out doing mobile stuff, so I didn't see how it was done or how much clear coat they took off. So when I went to his house to kind of repair these scratches, I went through the clear coat a little bit, because I was just using like 2,500 and 3,000 grit sandpaper, so they must not have left much clear coat on there after polishing it. So it went through, and I sent it out to a body shop to get that. Luckily they were just able, because of the body line, they were just able to like do like a spot repair on the top half of the door.
Got it.
So you didn't have to repaint the whole door. And then it's been about a month, so today I went back to correct it and put new coating on that section of the door. Little stuff like that has happened to me over the years. You either, if you don't burn paint, then you never really know the limits of what you're doing. And sometimes it just happens because you don't know the history of the car, or, it can just, I've worked on a car where I brushed over an edge with a soft foam pad, and it took paint off the edge. So like sometimes you just really never know what's going to happen. But if it does happen and it came from me, I just take care of it and make sure the customer's happy. So, but yeah, you never really learn if you don't make mistakes and if you don't know the limits. Like, I know there's some detailers out there who get lucky and they never burn paint, they never break anything, but I wouldn't feel right calling myself a professional if I'd never made a mistake.
Totally agree. I think you learn more from your mistakes than you do getting it right all the time.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a shop and mobile and all that. So you obviously started out mobile, or did you start out in that shop with your buddy? Okay.
I started out mobile, and I was mobile for like 2 years. And then I got my first shop, and then I moved around a few times because I could never find a place that seemed to be okay with me doing detailing after they realized what I was doing. So kept not letting me re-sign leases and stuff. And then I got into some trouble with a sublease that I did that turned out to be like a nightmare of a situation with this crazy con artist guy.
You want to talk about it for people that can look out for that, or not really?
Well, this guy's kind of a special case, and he just was like one of those people who's a smart talker, and because we were like mutual friends and I'd never really heard anything bad, I was just like, oh, okay, like you, and I've been to like an open house at his shop before, and it looked pretty nice. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll just see, like, I'm having trouble finding a spot. I'll see if, maybe this guy has some space open or something. I was just hitting up like random shop owners to see if they wanted to lease something out. And I didn't do my research enough on this guy, because once I got in there, it turned out he was he hadn't paid the rent on his actual building in a long time. He was screwing over his business partner for a lot of money. He pocketed the money that I gave him for rent. He'd like, and then once I realized what he was doing and like kind of turned on him, then he tried to do like crazy stuff. Like he sent me an email 24-hour eviction notice, and I just like was like laughing. I was like, really? Like, you think you can evict me in 24 hours with an email? Like, right. He do crazy shit like that. So I was there for a few months, and it was a hell of a time, because they were moving stuff out of the shop but being really sketchy about it. So I actually like slept at that building quite a bit and would spend endless hours there when there were people there, making sure that nothing was going on with my stuff and that kind of shit. So it was super stressful. And then I made the mistake of, like, after I got out of that shop, I partnered with someone that I shouldn't have partnered with. And so now I'm back to being mobile, so I don't have a shop anymore.
So did you partner with another detailer?
It wasn't another detailer. It was someone who, like, I guess you should say they were like an angel investor, except it didn't really work out that way.
Got it.
So things just got really messy, and now I just went back to being mobile. And but I'm kind of enjoying doing the mobile thing more, because I didn't realize how stressful it was, and like how much of a toll it was taking on me mentally, having had a shop all these years.
Interesting.
Double utilities, double rent, offering all kinds of different services, and sometimes having to be responsible for something I might not even have put my hands on, for like a subbed out service or something like that. And then, having to be somewhere for 8 or 9 hours a day, 6 days a week, like employees, payroll, all that stuff was like super stressful for me. And I always had trouble having like good employees and stuff like that. So once I got out of there and I got back on track with mobile and just like started getting busy again, then all of a sudden I was just like, man, this feels a lot better. I'm feeling like way less stressed out than I was before, even though I'm working a lot more. I'm feeling less stressed, and I'm starting to enjoy detailing more again, because I was kind of like at the point where I was like really trying to like put the polisher down and just do like the managerial duties and stuff, and like not do labor. So I was getting really lazy. And then once I had to do it, all of a sudden I was like, oh, like now I'm like having fun with this. I don't mind working alone anymore. Like I started a YouTube channel for like detailing how-tos and reviews and stuff. So I started having a lot of fun doing that too. So it's been a better time, and then less overhead. So I've been around for a while, so I have a huge client base and good presence online. So now all the money that I do make, I don't have to put towards rent and stuff or payroll. It just goes straight in my pocket, so it's much nicer.
Totally, yeah, and that's why so many times I see guys that want to scale and grow and have like this massive detailing business, and it's like, man, sometimes it's not all that it's cracked up to be. You know what I mean? It's not always awesome.
It's hard to get that like production style shop going too, because it's such a different mindset. Like I'm a perfectionist, so like at most I had like 2 employees,
right?
And so like it would be like maybe 5 cars a week for like a 1-step or a 2-step and coding, depending on the week. And I just like always like go out of my way to make everything look good. Like even if I sold someone on a one stage correction, I'd never be satisfied with the results. And I'm just like, screw it. I'm just going to do like a fast 2-step instead. So I was just like, I just had that like perfection mindset. And when you go to production style and you have a bunch of employees and you lower your prices a bunch, to be competitive, I can't do that because I can't let stuff go like feeling like it's mediocre, or having someone who is just a wage worker that might not care as much about what they're doing. They can still be a good worker, but they're not going to care about things as much as the owner who's getting the real paycheck.
Right.
Not everybody takes insane pride in their work, no matter what the pay.
100%. Do you still have that? I was going to say problem. I don't think it's necessarily a problem. I guess it could turn into a problem. Do you still have that where it's hard to not over deliver? It's hard to not over deliver.
Yeah, definitely. Like I just did a 1-step on an Audi RS3 this past weekend, and it was pretty thrash. And Audi clear coat is pretty tough to cut into on some of the newer ones. And I'm just using like a yellow foam cutting pad, and I'm pretty biased towards Shine Supply. So I use it for 1-steps. I do like a combination of Shine Supply Classic Cut and Classic Polish on a pad, and it usually gets like a 50% improvement or so. But there are just like some areas of the car that just like would not clean up, and I was just getting like so frustrated. But I'd already put like as much time as I could for what they were paying and stuff. So I just had to be like, all right, like, it might not be 100%, but they didn't pay for 100%. Mm-hmm. They paid for like up to 50%. So I've got to like fight with myself sometimes. So like, at least with paint correction, when that happens, I try to make everything else look like perfect. So, there won't be a speck of compound dust anywhere. All the jams are cleaned out, everything. I just try to do everything else and make everything else look as perfect as possible if I feel like I didn't correct the paint like good enough or something.
Totally. I think it's so hard to overcome that too. And it's always frustrating too when you have those moments where you like over deliver, say it's a paint correction or whatever, and it's a 1-step and you just over deliver because you can't stand it. And then the customer comes and they like write you, I guess I don't take checks anymore, but it used to happen like, the customer would write a check and they would fill out the check like on the deck lid of their car, and you're just like, damn it, like, why did I agonize over that?
Yeah, some of them don't even notice stuff either, like, because half the people out there don't even know that they have swirls. Like,
totally.
Like all Tesla owners, whenever somebody calls, I have a new Model 3 I want to do ceramic coating on, I don't think it needs any polishing, it's brand new, it looks perfect. And I'm just like, yeah, no, like, let me come over and put a light on there and show you.
Totally.
So like, people don't even, and that's the other thing is like, you have to sit there kind of and be like, well, the customer is like 90% not even going to notice, like, I swear there's some people where like you could have just coated the car and not even polished it and they wouldn't have known the difference. But
totally.
Like, so some people are just kind of, not super educated even after you educate them as much as you can on it.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. How are you currently advertising on Yelp, or do you have enough clientele from over the years that keeps you busy? How are you currently getting clients?
My primary like paid advertising is through Google AdWords, and then like I do like a lot of paid promotions on Instagram and Facebook too. I don't spend like a ton of money on those, but like Google AdWords has been a huge boost, at least before everything became super oversaturated with ceramic coating businesses. Google AdWords tripled my business in 1 month when I started using it. But now like the cost per click is outrageously high in Orange County. And so you're really competing with stuff. And even when you get a lot of, like, I just was asking my guy for my analytics the other day, and I've had like 160 clicks or something and spent a good portion of my budget. But like most people that call are price shopping. So it's just like, it's really hard to sell a price shopper like on the first or second phone call, because they're going to call a dozen other shops. But then like for Instagram, I just do more for like branding purposes and also to help kind of drive traffic to my YouTube channel as well.
Okay, interesting.
So but I'll spend, like $10 to $20 on like a post that's performing better than anywhere else. I'm pretty good with social media and marketing. I actually in the future kind of want to start a marketing company, but I have to learn a few more things first. But since I do everything myself, aside from AdWords, I'm pretty good at that.
Right.
And then I've got my Yelp account. I have like over 100 5-star reviews and more that don't show. So I get a lot of organic traffic just from that, from having so many reviews and photos from over the years.
That's awesome. That's so rad. And do you use any CRM or anything to help follow up with clients? Or and the reason for all these questions is there's the majority of detailers that write in or that message me are those that are either trying to get more clients or they're starting a business or want to, they want to leave their full-time job and detail full-time. So
yeah.
A lot of what you've gone through is like where the majority of the people that listen are at. And so like any nuggets, like just like you just gave are massive.
Okay. Well, I use QuickBooks pretty much for everything because you can track expenses, you can write invoices, estimates, have your customer database in there.
Yep.
I'm sure there's a way to like send out mass emails through that too.
And it's cheap.
I also
too.
have
it's like $15 a month.
Yeah. My website is also hosted through Wix, which has a database as well. Every time someone puts in like a request for a quote, it takes all their info, and I can do like email marketing blasts through that too if I want to like advertise, like
That's
Black
rad.
Friday specials or whatever. So having like a good web platform and web person can make a huge difference. But I'm also the kind of guy that does stuff in his head a lot. So like my head is my database. So I pretty much just like I'll forget stuff, but for the most part, I just remember everything, or I'll make random notes in random places on my phone. So, if I need to follow up with a customer, I do everything with my personal cell phone. So if I'm in a texting conversation with a customer or something, like that's easy for me to scroll down my text and be like, who haven't I heard from lately? Or like when customers are due for like an annual maintenance on their ceramic coating, I'll go into QuickBooks and I'll pull up last year's invoices from that month and email or text everybody to be like, hey, you're due for, an annual service. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, everything's just kind of in my head. I'll remember something and I'll hit up that person. But yeah, QuickBooks is definitely really good. I don't know a huge amount about like CRMs, so for like ones that are good for like following up with people or whatever, but it definitely helps to have that. And like, I use this calendar app called Time Tree, which has been pretty helpful too, just for, my scheduling. Because if I put it in like the Google Calendar on my phone, it gets mixed up with all my other crap. And then let's see, there's like a good to-do app that I had for a little while. I think it's called Trello or something, which you can make like good to-do lists on.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, and then obviously like if I have people messaging me on Facebook or Instagram, like their information's always there. So there's lots of good ways to reach out to people, but a lot of it is just making yourself do it. There's no like easy mode button for it, to like
100%
to send out like a mass email to everybody to let them know they're due for service. It's just easier to just get personal with that customer because they like that much better. I got into the really bad habit of texting everyone when I would get their numbers because I just like sometimes I can't be on the phone because I'm polishing or something.
Sure.
But I've found, although I'm pretty good at selling people through text messages, it's much easier to get people over the phone. So if for any newbies out there, call all of your customers. You'll probably get further with them that way, unless they specifically request, texting or emails, which usually leads to price shoppers who don't want to get sold on the phone.
Totally. Do you think you will end up having a shop again, or are you just enjoying mobile as it is?
I'm not sure. I'm enjoying mobile, and my customers are enjoying it. I'm also traveling a little bit more. Like I have a friend up in the Bay Area with who has a like a used exotic dealership. So he's been having me come up every once in a while to do cars for him.
Oh, that's rad.
So I can travel a little bit. And then he has some plans for this crazy building he's creating up there. And so he kind of offered me in like a couple of years when it's done to like come work out of there and at the same time just like keep an eye on his dealership, and there'd be like a living quarters and stuff there would be big enough for my wife and I. So
that's
so
pretty
that
cool.
might be a possibility in the future to just head up north at some point. But I don't know, I like the convenience, and my whole goal is to provide like a in-home luxury service because, you know, a lot of things I encountered with having a shop is people being like, well, do you have a loaner car? Like, oh, like if I'm going to drop it off, I got to figure out a ride or a rental. And then it ends up costing the customer more in the end, you know, and they've got to Uber there and back, or they get a rental car if it's going to take a few days. So it's just kind of like easier to like, hey, well, you don't have to worry about this. I can come to your house as long as you have a garage for me to work in for, you know, paint correction, coatings and stuff. And if it takes a couple of days, you know, I can just come back the next day. Or also like if they buy a brand new car, if you drive your car to the shop, you could potentially damage your car or dirty it up really bad on the way there, which could, you know, create more work, or you now have, you know, a rock chip on your freshly bought car. So it's like, you know, we can just come to your house and apply clear bra or ceramic coating or whatever there. So you don't have to risk damaging your vehicle on the way to a shop.
Right. Love that. Yeah. Especially in California, mobile definitely has its perks, especially if you can hit that like luxury market, you know, not like the lot wash kind of situation. You know?
Yeah. It's definitely easier now being mobile that I have my reputation and everything than it was in the beginning. But I did do when I was mobile the first time, I did a lot more like exotic cars back then than I did throughout having my shop. All the years that I had a shop, I had less exotic clients at my shop than I would mobile. I did a ton of coatings and stuff mobile on and just like, you know, regular details on exotic cars back in the day. And now I've been actually staying pretty busy with nicer cars these days as well. So I definitely caters to a certain kind of people, as long as they haven't, you know, jumped on the train of whatever the most popular, you know, exotic shop out there. We have a few of them in Orange County, I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yep.
But yeah, a lot of them just like that because they're busy. They don't have time to, you know, bring their car places, especially, you know, if they have like 5 different ones.
Yep. Love that, man. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to make sure you get across, or any advice or any tips or anything at all that you'd like to kind of give to the detailers out there?
Well, if you don't mind a wee bit of self-promotion here, if
Sure.
any newbies who are listening are interested in learning and kind of learning like how things really work, check out, if you go on YouTube, search Wicked Auto Protection. I upload content daily there of how to do things. If you're missing fancy equipment, how things actually work, product reviews, and all that good stuff. So if you're looking for a solid YouTube channel to learn detailing off of, definitely check mine out. Because that's one thing I'm trying to really do is grow this YouTube channel. Because another thing, you know, there's lots of misinformation out there on all products, whether it's a coating or clear bra or wax or polishes, and kind of knowing like what's true about what products do is one of my biggest pet peeves. So I made this channel to educate both detailers and customers and you know, do-it-yourself weekend warriors on, you know, what's real and what isn't. So I try to give the most accurate information in all of my videos.
Isn't it crazy the difference between like real world detailing and then detailing that we see on whether it be YouTube or Instagram or whatever? It's like, I try to tell people all the time too. It's like the real world of detailing and and what you see on the internet is like so different. It's crazy. So different.
Yeah, like no one is sitting there moving at like a snail's pace with their polisher when they're correcting your car. No one's working in an exact 2x2 section every single time. Like I've corrected an entire door in like a couple minutes. Like it didn't
Right.
split it up at all. It still gets a decent finish. You might have to do a few more passes, but like nobody's doing that. Nobody's moving like super slow. That's just when the camera's on you or the customer's watching. Like, you know, it's like
Right.
everybody's doing things way differently than some of those videos depict. And but my biggest thing is people bullshitting about like what ceramic coatings are actually capable of, because I'm sure you know as well as I, there's only so many chemicals that go into a ceramic coating in like a 30 or 50 milliliter bottle.
Right.
And none of them are water spot proof. None of them are scratch proof. Like none of them prevent chips or anything. Some of the stuff that I hear from customers shopping around that they heard from other detailers, I'm just like sitting here like, you know, smack my face like, why are people telling you all this stupid information? Because you get every now and then you find someone who's like, oh, like they told me it would do this and now I have water spots everywhere, or it's supposed to be harder and make swirls harder to put in, but I just washed my car and now it's swirled up completely. Like I see that stuff all the time. And it's just like people talking up their product too much. They're,
Yep.
you know,
It's a big problem.
75% of them are made overseas and rebranded or relabeled. So it's kind of, they're pretty much, I tell people they're pretty much all the same. There's a few that have some unique properties. Like I sell Fine Lab and we have the self-healing coatings, which are pretty rad. And I haven't really seen that with too many other brands out there, at least ones that work as well as the Fine Lab self-heal. So there's a few like unique properties that some have. I just signed up for another coating called graphene, which is like a titanium oxide coating. So it's supposed to be more resistant to water spots, not like water spot proof, but it's supposed to it's softer, I guess. So the water like has a harder time like etching it or something. But other than that, like they're for the most part all the same. They all make your car glossy and hydrophobic and sheet or bead water off of and easy to clean, you know, all that stuff. And it just kind of comes down to who installed it and whether they prep the paint the right way, you know, using your water-based polishes or correct panel prep methods and stuff like that.
Totally. Couldn't agree more. And that's why I tell guys too to focus, not focus so much on the brand that you're installing, but on your methods and making sure your relationship with your customer is good and that you're not overselling it too, because a lot of companies will do that. They'll encourage their installers to oversell it. And it, just like you, I've seen a ton of cars come in, ton of issues, and the customers are just left kind of with a sour taste in their mouth, you know. It's kind of a bummer. It's a bummer for the detailer, you know. So,
exactly.
Yeah, man, this has been rad. You've definitely given out some really, really solid advice for both newbies and guys kind of going through your whole shop process and then back to mobile. Sometimes it's better to just keep it simple and not have to overstress. So how can, I know you threw out your YouTube channel and stuff like that, but what's your website if there's someone local to the Orange County area that wants to reach out to you, kind of pick your brain even more, maybe collaborate with you? How can they find you on the interwebs?
Yeah. My website is wickedautoprotection.com, and then you can always Google Wicked Auto Protection as well. My email give out is sam@wickedautodetailing.com. So if anybody has questions about anything, you can feel free to reach out to me. And then if you do go on my YouTube, all that information for my social media, website, email is also on there as well. I am always down to answer questions and help other people.
Awesome, man. And I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to get this done. This has been awesome.
Yeah, no, thank you. I did another car podcast recently, and I was like, that was fun. Like, I need to find more of these.
It is. It's super fun. I always say, like, it gives you an excuse to, like, have a conversation for a little bit and have fun and then meet someone out of it. So
yeah,
it's, like, selfish and helping people all at the same time. It's fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, man. I'll end it there, and thanks again.
No problem.
Awesome.